Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today we have a very exciting knife to unbox. So, Hawk knives, obviously that's what we're looking at here. If you don't know, on this channel, Hawk knives they're a brand where it's kind of a drop everything and see what we've got in store kind of brand. I am a huge fan of Hawk knives. These are knives that are made small batch and in the United States, entirely in the United States. They are definitely expensive, but if you've been around for a bit, then you know why these are a big deal. This is the newest knife. I'm really excited to get it out and take a look at it. I don't get to keep this. It's just here so that I can share it with you guys. As far as I know, there were prototypes brought to Blade Show, and then he said he would be opening up books and doing drops for, I think maybe the books were open at Blade Show, and then he was going to do a drop with a deposit. So I'll invite you guys to check out his website where I think there are text notifications, things like that, but that's all the info I have. Thanks so much to Hawk for sending this in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Oh my gosh, let's get this out. So I own 2 deadlocks and I own a rook and I also own the shortcut. And if I had the opportunity, I would own many, many more. So what oh boy. Oh boy, that is so cool. Oh man, I just love Hawk knives, man. If you own something like, especially like the OTFs are awesome. I love them. They're the super cool ones that up until very recently were the only OTFs on earth that had no blade play. But it's not the only thing that he does. In this case, we have the toggle detent. I missed out on the Orbit, but I definitely got in on the Rook. And this Talon, if I haven't said it already, has this toggle detent as well, but it's definitely larger. Yeah, there we go. What? Okay. Oh, this is Serge's prototype. That's why. It just says, damn it, Dale. Yeah, okay. Let's see. The flipper action on this. Oh yeah. It's got that magic with it's got the rook magic. Oh, I love that. So this part right here, the toggle detent, this locking system is completely different than, you know, the different disengagement locks that we see on various modern knives. It's completely different than an axis lock. It is not the same thing at all as like a button or switch operated liner lock or compression lock or frame lock. It's their own thing. And the action, the feeling of action is completely and totally unique. The only other thing that I have ever experienced, well, the other things that I've ever experienced that have a similar feeling are the other two with the, actually, I feel like the Orbit had a different lock. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But the Rook has the toggle detent, and I love that. So you get this super unique clicking sensation in the in and out of the closed position, but firing the knife incredibly unique, right? A little bit of stick there, but this is a prototype. So cool. And then we have, oh, it's got a little thumb stud on it too, which I notice is the external stop. I am personally a big fan of that. Very cool. Have the housing there. Yeah, this is nice. Now, you know, you got to really be into the all in-house produced USA stuff to be into this because it's going to be expensive. Not a lot of this stuff is made. These things are they're not mass produced, not even close to the definition of the word. So it's one of those things where they're in super high demand. So if you're in a position where you want to buy it, the next hurdle is usually finding an opportunity to buy one. And I know that, you know, people kind of venturing into this end of the knife world for the first time are flabbergasted and sometimes very, very offended by the idea of that. But that's been the case for a very, very long time. This is the tier of the knife world that, you know, that I'm talking about. It's just been the case for a long time, right? I have definitely missed out on many, many things just because the availability is not there versus the demand, right? And oftentimes Hawk, that's the case, right? And a lot of people kind of the knee-jerk reaction to that is, why don't they just make more? And I can tell you that Hawk does have the capacity to make a lot, and he does make a lot. and then they sell anyway. So I've always been under the impression that he's operating at maximum capacity because that's, you know, there's huge benefit obviously to making as many as you possibly can and then having them sell. So that I can only imagine is the case. I can't pretend to have, you know, all the insight in the world on that. I would just venture to guess that that is the case, right? Especially given, you know, what happened with the John Wick 4 edition Deadlock. Like, he made a lot of those and they all sold, right? But let's talk about the ergonomic lines on this because this is really, really comfortable. Look at how they chamfer the edges of both the scales and the frame underneath. Really cool. That ledge sort of matches up. It's not perfectly, like, so there's a little bit of shadow boxing going on here, but it's a nice transition from the scale to the titanium. So this all feels incredibly natural. I do like this little curvature in here. It's not quite as curvy as, you know, like Surge, I'm just going to say Surge. His knives tend to be very wild in aesthetic and curvature and all of that, right? Take the Rook, for example. Yeah, that kind of is the Surge aesthetic that I expect. This one has quite a bit more in the way of like traditional knife lines, and I like that. I also like how the backspacer kind of extends up, rises up and away from the frame as it tapers down. That's really nice. Just in an area that's often, like, I don't want to say lazy, it's just most of the time with designs, and I'm guilty of this too, it's just the back end of it is just like whatever, you know? And so it's nice to see a little bit of personality back here. I do like on Hawk knives, like the acid washing always looks really, really cool, the way that he does it. And of course, you gotta love the pocket clip and the Hawk logo sort of milled into the scales here. What is the blade steel? Ooh, that's hollow ground. Ooh, okay, give me a little piece of paper here. Metal Complex thinks the edge geometry until he could test it with the paper. He's so dumb. All we're doing here is testing the factory edge, guys. Oh, yeah. So obviously, as I say many times, and people aggressively ignore, right, especially when they want to create the narrative that I don't understand how edge geometry works, is all we're testing here is just the factory edge. Obviously, depending on the geometry of the blade and what it is that you are cutting, right? Different materials, different thickness of materials, you're going to have a wildly different experience because geometry plays a role, right? Is it flat ground? Is it hollow ground? What's the starting thickness? How tall is the blade, right? These are all elements that I understand, but for some reason, I think people like to put their fingers in there and go, la, 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 la. I can only imagine. It's like, how do people arrive at this conclusion? All we're doing when we're cutting paper is I just want to feel. Yeah. This is an incredibly slicey edge, the way that he's got this done. And it's also very, very thin down here. Really, really nice. I do like that a lot. Yeah, I'm going to pick one of these up. I don't get to keep this, but he had said, you know, if you like it, let me know. I do have to pay full price. I know that not everybody believes me, and it's not always the case with everybody, but with Hawk, I pay the price. So I'm going to do that. I really, really like this. I think this is really cool, really, really nice. This is not a review because I literally have just opened it up and handled it for the first time. But I do want to get some more information, especially pricing. Hawk knives definitely are in a tier above even the higher end USA stuff. Like Hawk knives are easily in a tier above that. Not just in terms of quality, but functionality, reliability. The locking systems are always incredible, right? And there's a lot of work that goes into these, even with machine elements, right? These are not entirely handmade. While there is probably some hand fitment, maybe some hand grinding, there are machine elements here. But there's definitely a lot of time and money that goes into each individual knife. So they are very expensive. I don't always agree with Hawk pricing. I think the deadlocks have definitely, I mean, as the owner of two of them, I think the pricing has definitely gotten a little bit out of control. But I want to find out about pricing on these and then give my final thoughts in a review of the prototype. I do enjoy this. I think this is really cool. And I want to give you guys an overall measurement of this. Overall length is coming in at, it's, you know, really, I thought it'd be over 8 inches. It's actually 7.85 inches, very nearly 8 inches. Blade length is all of 3.5 inches. Cutting edge is 3.25. I really like this area right here. That is really, really comfortable. Nice, you know, thick enough piece of material that it doesn't feel like it's digging into my finger, and then it's heavily chamfered at the edges. That's super comfortable. Really, really comfortable. Oh, look at the slots he's carved out for the closed position stop pin area. Super nice. The reason for this is so that your fingers don't have to interact with that indentation. Smart. That was admittedly something that I could not figure out with my design, because I thought I can make the housing, like I can mold the titanium around the stop pins, which would be the stops in the closed position, but then people choking up in the index finger position would be running their finger against it. So we ended up doing an internal stop lump of titanium so that the frame, didn't need those indentations and it wouldn't irritate the index finger. This is an interesting way to get around that because it is very comfortable. Jimping is very functional. This is a totally functional, usable knife, like super duper usable. Awesome. Lockup, absolutely. So I've never handled a hawk knife with any blade play. Really like that. That's fun. I'll link whatever I can in the description. I don't have any direct links where you can just go buy this right now. This is not the type of knife where you can do that. So check out his website, sign up for the text notifications, follow him on Instagram, reach out to him, questions, get in his comment section. Perhaps he'll even be here in my comment section where you guys can talk with him directly. But that'll be it for today. Thank you so much to Hawk for sending this in. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.